So I'm going to address something that's a little controversial in fandom world, and it is also controversial in Star Wars world, and it is Reylo. Okay, so I was a fan of Reylo in The Last Jedi, before I even knew what hashtag Reylo was. But here's the thing, I love this relationship between Rey and Kylo Ren, because way back in The Last Jedi, when they said to each other, "You're not alone and neither are you," it really struck a chord within me, because it addressed this feeling of loneliness. And for me, loneliness is where spiritual warfare really comes into play. Loneliness is a very scary place for me, because it feels, and I'm sure all of you can relate to this, like it feels like when you feel alone, when you feel truly lonely, it can be a dark place. It feels like nobody is there to pick you up when you fall. Sometimes I evaluate friendships by like, hey, if I feel like the world is coming to an end for me, at 2 a.m., could I call you and wake you up, and could you help me with this? Like, could you help me talk through this? God is always there for us, right? Jesus is always there for us. But for me, for my relationships with people, I do sometimes relate relationships like that. And I haven't called anybody at 2 a.m., I promise, but it's just, I think we all know that feeling and that longing of wanting to know that we are not alone, that we all have somebody we can fall back on. And so what I love about their relationship is they see the good and the light in each other. Even though Kylo Ren is evil and he's following an evil master, Rey still sees the good in him. Rey knows the good and the light is there, even when it may be truly questionable. They are two sides of the same coin. They are a dyad in the Force, but they know each other's experiences. They know what it feels like to kind of feel like an outsider in each of their spheres. Even Rey, she is this hero and she's on the light side, but she's still trying to figure out who she is. And Kylo Ren understands that and sees that, because that's how he has always felt. So I think seeing this deeper, not issue, but this deeper value of what it means to be together, what it means to have each other's backs, is why I love Reylo so much. So fast forward to The Rise of Skywalker, she says to him, I did want to take your hand, Ben's hand, and he's kind of shocked by that, because it's another way of her saying, I see you, and I see the good in you, and I do want to know you, and I want to be there for you. And so when he shows up on Exegol, I love those moments, because he's fighting for the light. He knows who he is now. He knows who he is now, and he is fighting for the light. He is fighting for the good. And no matter what you feel about, the kiss and whatnot, I love them fighting together. I love their sacrifice for each other. If you've not read my blog post about Kylo Ren and redemption, it is on my website, fangirlingoverjesus.com. Please go read that blog. We do not have enough time to talk about that right now. But all that to say, I love how strong they are together. And again, they know each other, and they know the longing, they know the loneliness, they know this feeling of being an outsider. And so this is normally used for weddings, but I'm just going to read Ecclesiastes 4:9-12. It says, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good return on their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. That sounds familiar. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. If 2 lie down together, they will keep warm, but how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves. That makes me think of the image where both of them have the blue lightsabers, Luke and Leia's lightsabers raised, and they're ready to fight Palpatine. I love that image so much. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. So in marriage, obviously, this is usually the guy and the girl and God. But in this case, in the Star Wars world, it's kind of, Rey and Ben Solo and the Force, because they are a dyad and they're connected by the Force. So I really love this relationship because of the depth, because of the unity, because they truly are. If one of them falls down, the other helps the other up, or they sacrifice themselves for each other. I think all of us want that in somebody else. We know that we have that in God, but I think we do kind of want that in somebody else too. That's why we get married. That's why we have deep friendships. So no matter what you feel about Reylo, I would just encourage you, next time you watch The Rise of Skywalker, maybe look at that relationship with a little more depth. Is it romantic? Sure. But there's depth there, and there's a feeling of longing that I think really strikes deep down in all of our hearts. And that's why I think this is so, so beautiful.